Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with my podcast, The High Table with David Sutter. And today is a very, very special guest.
Okay.
Jona Jones.
That's me.
Let me tell you something about this woman here. She aggressively, and I mean aggressively,
we're already starting off on the road.
Disrespected me in Kroger's. Yes, because I had some nice Angus beef and I was going to put in the air fryer.
Blasphemy.
And then here we are 2 months later at a podcast. So we're going to talk about the interaction and we're going to go from there. But Jona?
Yes, sir.
Jones.
That's me.
Thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here. I'm glad for the opportunity to be here and share some things, drop some knowledge.
Right. And one of the reasons why I wanted her here, guys, was she's a black farmer and a chef and a cook. And you're a chef, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not classically trained, but I am stood in chairs at my grandmother's kitchen sink and stove and learned things that her mother and grandmother taught her. So.
Awesome. And so I saw this lady here with her assistant with 2 carts full of meat and vegetables and everything else, and it caught my eye. I'm like, what are you doing? I think I was talking to your assistant, and you came over there butting in, and then you saw the meat in my cart, and then you said, hey, what the heck are you doing with that meat? And I said, I'm putting the air fryer. What are you talking about? And then you went on a tangent. But before we get in all that, I want you to introduce yourself and kind of tell my listeners why you're here and what all about you, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so my name is Jona Jones. I am a Nashville native, and the incident that the gentleman is speaking of is being in Kroger here in our neighborhood, and he was buying good quality beef, and was planning to air fry it. And as a chef, that just broke my heart for that poor meat and for him, because good steaks either need to go on a grill or they need to go, 3 minutes per side in a nice rip-roaring hot cast iron skillet. Air fryers are for chicken tenders that were previously frozen and coated and God knows what. Yeah, that's what air fryers for. They're for mozzarella sticks. They're for hot pockets. You're not putting good quality steaks in an air fryer. So I digress on that note.
Okay, thank you very much.
But also in that conversation, I shared with him about our family farm in Goodlettsville, where we have cattle and we have horses and we also have beehives. And on that farm, I do farm-to-table dinners for whoever wants to come out. And coming out to a Black-owned farm, I source as much of my meat and produce from local Black farmers here in the Middle Tennessee area. And you come out to a farm and you get to sit down and break bread and fellowship with people that want to get the farm experience, see what that feels like, see what that looks like, see what that tastes like, and know that when I'm creating a recipe and curating a menu, I'm following what the farmers have, during that month, during that season,
right?
Starting in May, going into November. So when strawberries are in season, we're using strawberries multiple ways. When peaches are in season, we're using peaches multiple ways. But then also in some of our ingredients, I take the time to educate people and let them know there are certain foods that we brought from Africa with us. And those foods are still on our tables today. And for me, that's a very important thing to share with people, because a lot of times with our food, it doesn't get the same respect that Italian food may get, or Chinese food, or Korean food. But at the end of the day, or Mexican food, but at the end of the day, our food is rich in our history, all the way from Africa to America. And we brought some of those food. We brought strands of rice with us. We brought okra with us. We brought black-eyed peas with us. We brought beets with us. So all of those foods, incorporating those into a menu and sharing that, shows people that, our food is legacy food.
Right.
And that's such an important thing to me, and sharing that is vital. And so for me, that's a way to do it, coming out on the farm and sharing those foods and sharing those experiences and letting people know that you're seen here, you're welcomed here, you are loved here, you are safe here. And at the end of the meal, I hope that people take something from that.
Wow. And you said a lot of stuff about, first of all, you gave too much information off the top, okay? And I appreciate that. But I want to go back to that. I want to talk about the history of you and food.
Okay.
Or was it inherited from an aunt or grandmother?
It was both.
Okay, let's speak about that.
It was both. So, like I said, my family is from Middle Tennessee. My father is from Lebanon, His mother was the cook and housekeeper for a judge in Lebanon, Tennessee. And everything that she cooked, everything that she prepared, she brought home and fed her babies. My mother's mother was a cook at BGA in Franklin Battleground Academy.
Yes.
It was before present day. It was a previously segregated boarding school. And
with some history.
Yes, lots of history there.
Right.
My grandmother was the cook there, and she brought home the leftovers and the scraps and things that, they were discarding. She brought that home and fed her babies, but she also fed all of the children in the neighborhood. So that was one of those things that we did back in the day. That was one of those things that was just kind of part of it. You fed your kids, and then if you had extra, you fed the kids down the street who may not have had. When your children outgrew their clothes, you passed them down to the kids down the street who may not have had. And from both of my grandmothers, that's what I learned. You feed your community, you feed your family, and that's the art of progression. That's the art of moving us forward as a family, as a community, as a unit, from one generation to the next.
So this is somewhat in your DNA as far as helping families through food.
Very much so.
Through the process of cultivating your garden, I'm assuming.
Very much so.
Okay, so you talk about the food. What was your first experience in the kitchen with your grandmother?
Man, like there's so many experiences, and I don't know. There's this thing where sometimes your experiences are not because that's what you remember. It's what you've been told or seen in photos. And so for me, I have photos of me standing in chairs.
Wow.
At my grandmother's stove, stirring pots and learning things. We also have photos of me sitting at the old school desk that was like you sit down and it's got the arm part.
Yes.
The old school wood desk. There's a photo of me, and it's on my Instagram page as well, of me icing a cake.
Wow.
And the photo, like it's just me and my little hands icing a cake, and I'm smiling, and you see that there's this spark in this little girl that, to me, I feel like the seed of grits was planted in me as a little girl, because coming from like I said, both of my grandmothers, being in the culinary world and cooking and feeding people because they didn't have a choice.
Right.
I don't necessarily say that was their dream job, but it's what paid the bills, but it was also what helped them feed their children. And so for me, one of my first jobs was my dad sold cars, and I sold hot dogs in a weenie wagon at car dealerships, because car dealer back in the day you could make a living selling cars, and they would have 4th of July sales.
And so that was your first experience in the kitchen. Do you have a certain secret sauce or secret technique that you have from your grandmother? Or you just open for business?
It's so many different things that my grandmother's taught me. And like there's not a secret sauce. Like I have things, I like to say we collaborate in the kitchen a lot. Both of my grandmothers are passed on, but I have their recipes. Thank you. I have their recipes, and I like to say that we are collaborating in the kitchen together, because when I look at my grandmother's recipe books, I see where she scratched out something because she didn't like that ingredient, and then she would put in what she wanted to use.
Let me stop you for a second.
Yes.
You said recipe books. That means that your grandmother took the time to write stuff down, kind of like a scientist.
Yes, she wrote stuff down.
Right.
She if she found a recipe that she tried and she enjoyed it, she wrote it down. I have pages of her recipes where she wrote down what it was for, whether it was first Sunday for church, or Christmas breakfast, or this for so and so's birthday. I have these pages with her little cursive handwriting on it, where this was what she wanted to make and what she wanted to make it for, or who she thought would enjoy it.
Wow.
And like I said, we've had those for years since she passed away, because after she passed, my mom and I, we were, going through her house and the things you do when people pass on, and we were, we found her recipe books, and we're trying to decide what to do with them and making copies to give to other members of our family as well. And I still have, in my house right now, I have her book, and I've played around with making her pound cakes. I've played around with making her pot roast. I've played around, with a lot of her recipes, and
Right.
a lot of times when my family's like, "Have you tried making these?" Da 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 da.
Right.
I'm like, I'm still playing with it because
Right.
it's not quite tasting like hers. Because one of the things that we are learning, grandmothers, they didn't measure.
No.
They were pouring from their heart, and
from the ancestors.
Right. If they loved cinnamon, then they used a whole lot of cinnamon. They didn't say 4 tablespoons of cinnamon, or if they loved vanilla, they're going to have vanilla.
Right.
Like, they weren't measuring. So it's hard to replicate her recipes and it tastes exactly like Nene's,
Right.
but it's still a connection.
Wow. And so the food has been a part of your life. Can we say that's your love language?
Yes, food. I say that all the time, actually. Food is my love language. If I love you, I feed you.
Wow.
If you in my home, whether it be, a full-blown meal or just like, hey, I'm making a little something, or hey, I'm about to make myself a cocktail and you're here, let me make you one. If I pour into you in any kind of way, it's from a space of love.
Wow. And so you saw your grandmother do that. Like,
yes.
I got the feeling that your grandmother couldn't cook for 2 people. She cooked for...
No, she could not.
She cooked for...
Her cooking for 2 people was warming up some leftovers.
Right.
She could not, and I can't either. Like, I don't know how to... I struggle with that now. My husband's like, you don't like leftovers, but you don't know how to make small portions. Like, if I'm cooking, I'm about to feed a family.
Wow. and that's good, because my mother was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have the similar skill set, can look at the cupboards and figure something out.
Yeah.
And they come up with something. My mother was amazing at that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your go-to dish, or do you have a go-to dish?
I don't. It just depends on the mood, and that's where, like, I can't meal prep.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay.
they're like that whole, like, meal prepping and like, oh, I made this and I'm gonna have this for this. And I'm a feel person. I'm gonna go in the store and see what's calling my name. I'm gonna go in the store and see what's on sale.
Right.
And kind of play around from there. I think that's one of the things my husband, he's finally gotten used to after almost 9 years of marriage. Like, he never knows what he's gonna come home to in terms of me cooking, because I will say one of my favorite things to make when it gets cold, I love to make bolognese.
What is that?
Bolognese it's a very hearty Italian meat sauce.
Okay.
I think growing up, most of us saw our grandmothers, saw women, they would brown some ground beef and some onions, maybe some mushrooms, and then throw in a can of Prego.
Okay. Exactly.
So that was spaghetti sauce.
Okay.
But the authentic Italian version is browning pork, beef, celery, onions, tomatoes, and letting all that stew down. A little bit of stock, a little bit of wine, some San Marzano tomatoes. That's Italian tomatoes, and that's gonna get 5 hours sitting on the stove.
Wow.
And then if you can get a hold of some fresh pasta or homemade pasta, which I've done that, but I've made homemade pasta before. Then that's what you're making your meat sauce with.
Got it. And you spoke about disrespect. Where do you see the disrespect in soul food compared to other, I don't say race, but I guess I can say race, other races type of food? You spoke about our food being disrespected or not known or something to that.
Yes, disrespected in the sense of just being disrespected, cast aside, like it's not important. Like it's like black food is not the backbone of this country. I say that a lot because if we came here as slaves and we were the ones doing the cooking, then
you had to love our food.
Right, you had to. Right. And you get, I think it was last year or the year before, we had a public, I'm trying to think of the words, but long story short, a woman that looked like us had been cooking for Paula Deen and taught her all these things. And here it is, Paula Deen is multiple millionaire. Her sons are multiple millionaires. Right. And this woman was, she's like, I've been working in this woman's kitchen for minimum wage for, 30 years. Wow. So much of our food.
So typical. It
is.
So typical.
And I think that's one of the things for me is if you're going to come out to our farm, you're going to, especially if you're coming out to our farm and you don't look like me, if you're not African American, the first thing you're going to do is realize this ain't about you. Right. You are not the center here. Okay. This dinner, this meal is about us and what we brought to this country and what we continue to give this country regardless of how this country treats us. Because we are still showing up and we are still feeding this country. And one of the things I say a lot on the farm is the culinary world of this country was built by Black women. Right. Before, fancy awards and fancy culinary schools, the heartbeat of this country when it came to food was Black women.
Wow.
And if you can't see that and acknowledge that, that's on you. That's your denial, but it doesn't take away from the fact that that's the truth.
Right. And it sounds like your grandmother not only taught you about food, but empowered you as well.
Very much so.
You're very strong woman. Ooh, y'all should have heard the conversation before we got on air.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Perfectly pleasant.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen. I dare not say you. I'm afraid for my safety. But honestly, stop it. So honestly, your grandmother taught you how to cook. Mm-hmm. She taught you that Black women are the backbone.
The backbone of the family and backbone of this country.
Absolutely.
I think the present day word that a lot of people are using are matriarch.
Okay.
I think that's the big word. That's the $10 word on Scrabble that people are using. Matriarch. Black women were the backbone of the family.
I agree with that. But how were you growing up as a teenager with all this information?
As a teenager, I didn't.
Let me say this.
Oh, go ahead.
I honor people that had a grandma.
Okay.
I didn't know my grandma.
Okay.
Okay. My brother, who's 9 years older, I believe he had some interaction. My parents were older when they had me.
How old were your parents when they had you? Because I got old parents too.
41, 42. Maybe.
Okay. That's me. My dad was pushing almost 40 when I have a twin brother.
Okay.
When we were born. My dad was on up there.
Okay. Right.
And so, yeah.
So to your point, my question is, all that information, did you understand it initially, or once you became a grown woman, of the type of influence that you had in the kitchen? Or did it just dawn on you all of a sudden, hey, I need to research and kind of see what you're talking about? Or did you listen off the top? Because most young people don't listen.
Okay. So it's a combination of both.
Okay.
Because...
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. That's a great question, actually. Look at you tooting your own horn. Hey, but yes, it was a combination of both, because all of that information, once you pour stuff like that into a child, it's with them.
Right.
But at the same time, I grew up, my brother and I, we were into everything. Like, my mother always says we didn't idle well. And so that's not working. You ain't saying I was in the marching band in high school.
Okay.
I played soccer. I played softball growing up. At one point, I played basketball, but I wasn't that great at basketball. My brother was a football player. He played baseball. So growing up, like we were always busy. We were always on the go. In the summertime, my brother was at football camp.
Oh, absolutely.
I was at soccer camps. So at that time, at that age, middle school, high school, it didn't quite register, but I knew that stuff was back there because I could, if my parents were home, I could get in the kitchen and fix food for me and my brother.
With no problem.
No hesitations. I wasn't afraid of the kitchen. I wasn't afraid of the stove. I wasn't afraid to do, to get in the kitchen and do stuff. I will tell you, my senior year of high school, I pretty much sliced off the tip of my finger cooking for me and my brother, and had to go to the emergency room, had to get stitches.
Wow.
And my fear was like, I can't get my nails done for prom.
Right.
And my mom was just like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. But so it was a combination of both, because that knowledge was poured into me and it was there. But then I will say in my 20s, I started to kind of play around more with it and wanted to, know more. I think in my early 20s was the time I reached out to my aunt and I was like, teach me how to make your caramel cake. My yellow cake and caramel icing.
Okay.
Because she was like, okay, like this is you standing at this stove,
right,
turning this caramel, because if you don't turn it, it's going to burn. And learning how to make her caramel cake, because my aunt had 2 sons.
Okay.
She didn't have any daughters to pass certain things down. So I'm talking about my mom's sister.
Okay. So this your mom's?
My mom's sister.
I'm talking your grandmother. Your mom's?
My mom's mother.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And then my mom, so my mom and her, like I said, my mom's sister. So she had sons. And so she didn't have a daughter to pass certain things on to. So I had my mom and her sister pouring into me. Okay. This is the way my mom made this. This is the way we did it. This is how we do it.
Got it.
And so I kind of got a double time going that side of my family. And then from my father's side, my grandmother passed away. We were in middle school.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. We were in middle school, and the loss of my dad's mom really shook up our family in the sense of she was the glue. She was the backbone. She was the glue. She was the one who was letting everybody know when the family reunion was. She was the grandmother who was like, on Sunday, I don't care what church you're going to, I don't care who you're worshiping, your Sunday dinner is here at this house.
Wow.
And so, no matter what, like I said, we lived in Franklin at that time.
Okay.
We were going to Lebanon. Going all the way to Lebanon. every Sunday to sit down at my grandmother's table and eat Sunday dinner as a family.
Wow.
And people talk about the movie Soul Food, like, oh, that's not real. No, sweetheart, that was very much our family every Sunday, no matter where you was going in church. We had family coming from all over Middle Tennessee to go to Lebanon, Tennessee, Big Springs Road, be at Granny House, cooking. And then that's what our summers were. If we weren't at camp or doing something, we were at Grandmama's house. We were shucking corn on her patio. We were running through her strawberry patches in her backyard, pulling strawberries. I'll never forget my cousin planted watermelon seeds in the side of the house and didn't say nothing, and then lo and behold, watermelon. But it was a very kind of country country homegrown upbringing. I remember I tell people all the time, we grew up churning ice cream. I watched grown men ready to fight because my grandmother had one rule: if you don't churn, you don't get none. So if you're churning ice cream the old-fashioned way, you know to get in on it early. Right. And that's when the kids would line up and everybody, because once it got thick and once it became more solid, it took a grown man to be able to churn that cream. And so, but like I said, I've seen grown men ready to fight and grown men snitching. Mama, so-and-so didn't churn, don't get him none. Like grown men with kids fighting about ice cream.
I can't remember the last time I had homemade ice cream.
I made some last week. Wow.
If
you're nice and this goes well, I may, swing by and bring you some homemade vanilla ice cream.
Hey.
Like I said, if you're nice, if this goes well.
Let's pray it goes well. To keep going.
About your Angus beef in the air fryer?
Yes.
Because that's diabolical.
Okay. Let's move forward.
Okay. Carry on.
Leave my Angus beef alone. Okay, so now you're in your 20s. Mm-hmm. You're picking up steam with cooking. Mm-hmm. You're combining the love of food and family with the teachings of your grandmother. Mm-hmm. How are you? I don't know how. I'm not going to say age. I went there.
I'm proud.
I know you are. But in your mid-20s, were you cooking like this with such command of the kitchen?
Yes.
And let's talk about that.
Yes. Cooking the way I was cooking the way I cook now at 23, 24, 25.
Wow.
I was in a kitchen. I could easily put together a menu. But some of that knowledge came from working in restaurants. Because once like I said, coming from working the hot dog stand, the weenie wagon at the car dealership. Yeah. Once I became of age, I was a hostess in a restaurant. And then, once you become a hostess, you have to, get your license. You can become a server. Mm-hmm. Once you can become a server, then you can become a bartender. Then from there, I went into, some catering and some catering management. So, you could work in a restaurant that if they said, oh, we're going to cater a party for, 30 people, mm-hmm. what does that entail? Right. Helping people pick out a menu, helping people pick out, sides to go with things. So you kind of start to learn what it takes to run a restaurant, run a kitchen, and all of those are all skills you can take home. Right. In terms of what you're doing. So, like I said, that was vital. To me, that was a vital education. I think that's one of the things I take all the time. I think everybody should work in a restaurant at least once in their life because it teaches you what it means to work in a restaurant, but it also teaches you how to talk to people. Because if you can't talk to people, you're getting $2
absolutely.
A tip on an $80 table.
Absolutely. We have a problem in our community with just simple communication. Just across the board.
We do.
Young people in this world.
And it's only getting worse.
If I hear bruh one more time, I was going to beat my son up one time.
Bruh.
He's in town for the summer. And he hit me with the, hey, bruh.
First, I'm your father. And you're going to talk to me like I'm your father.
I had to hit him with, hey, listen here. We're not going to do that.
Okay. That ain't a thing.
You're my son. I'm your father.
Address me as such.
Thank you. Bro.
That's what you call your little friends.
Right. And don't call your mama, bro. We're not doing that. Oh, yeah.
Calling his mama.
He's 22.
Okay. The 22 is old enough to know better. No. Because if you want something from me, you're gonna say my name, and you're also gonna pronounce it correctly.
Absolutely.
Because I get real indignant. Jonah. I don't know who you're talking to because I've told you how to say my name 5 times properly. So you must not want nothing.
Clearly.
That's the little hill I will die on.
I understand.
But yeah, your son calling you bruh.
I know.
Or calling his mom. Nah, you don't need nothing.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm going to give him a little grace and mercy.
We all need grace and mercy.
Yes.
Amen.
I don't know how we get on this parenting and food, but I guess they go together.
It does. Because
So,
you got to feed them kids.
I know.
Then people going to get called on you.
Listen, ain't nothing in the refrigerator right now. So he's in town for the summer, and so I had to learn how a different way of parenting because for one, I live by myself, and so now this person he's grown and he has an opinion. Okay, now in our house growing up, we were seen and not heard.
Yeah, children were seen and not heard.
That tradition don't work no more.
It doesn't.
Okay, so
it's borderline abusive.
Thank you.
It's borderline abusive. You have to. There's a very fine line with that.
A fine line, and so I had to learn. Hey, this guy is smart. He never got no trouble. He didn't give his mother no trouble. He's graduated from college. He does have an opinion. However,
and his opinion is valid.
He's opinionated. Okay, having an opinion is one thing, but when you are opinionated, that means everything you got a rebuttal to. But however.
No, because my mother said the same thing about me growing up, that I was very opinionated. She
Really?
said, Jona, not everybody needed to hear my opinion. I'm like, well, why not? Then why are you here? Why are you in front of me?
Right. Why? Like, really?
But that's what it's, my opinionated rebuttal to my mother with that is, I have a mother who's in education.
Okay. Well,
So
it is.
Exactly. Like, once again, ma'am, you cultivated this because growing up when I had questions, my brother and I, we wouldn't ask my parents anything because the first thing I know, well, that's interesting. That feels like something you should be able to tell me. Go research that.
Oh, wow.
Come back and tell me about that.
That's so.
Ma'am, just tell me what is and why it's that way.
Right.
No, but also, once again, that creates children who can go out in the world and get the information for themselves.
Absolutely.
Like, I think I will say there are people in the world that are very annoyed by me when they ask me questions because the first thing out of my mouth is Google.
Okay.
Because I don't need to, my information is mine. I don't have to share it with you unless I want to. And if you can't go Google, if you can't use the brain power that you have, because we didn't have Google in our day.
Oh, we did. We
had Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
We had the whole set on the bookshelf in the living room.
Mom and Dad.
And my mom and dad, well, that's something you should tell me. Go look. It would send me to go out. This is outside of schoolwork. Give me a report on that. Like my mom would make us do reports on things.
Shout out to mom. Hold on, she get a hand clap. Shout out to good parenting.
It is. Like, and of course at that time I was like, this woman has lost her mind. Why? Lord, why? But now at this big age of, 40 something, I'm just like, oh no, mama was setting us up to be, healthy, productive citizens of the world, that we could go out in the world and find the information that we were looking for, and we didn't have to depend on nobody. Because if I'm depending on you for information, then I'm depending on you to survive.
Everything, and we don't need that. Right.
And that world ain't designed for us. I can't depend on them to teach me nothing. I got to be able to go out and get it.
And so my son, who goes to a PWI, is learning.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but he comes down here for culture. Okay, he
comes down here from where?
Charleston, West Virginia.
There's no culture in Charleston, West Virginia?
No.
Okay.
Not much.
He comes to Nashville to get some culture.
He comes to Nashville to see his family, obviously. But
but also
it's a different world. Right. And so...
Okay, I respect that, because that was my 20s.
Right. Okay. And so, I'm going to go back to food, because we can talk parenting all day.
Oh, by the way, I'm not a parent, so my parenting knowledge is limited to... My twin brother has a 4-year-old. I'm just like,
okay. Well, hey.
Like, I step aside real quick when it comes to parenting, because that ain't my ministry.
Not your ministry?
Whatever you doing with them babies to keep them alive,
your business.
I support that fully. Whatever you doing to keep them alive, then people ain't showing up at your house, dragging you out your house for what you did and didn't do.
Wow.
I commend it.
And I thank God that my son didn't go down that road.
Yeah.
He did kid stuff. He did kid stuff.
Yeah. Like, there's age appropriate things.
Age appropriate, right.
And see, that's how my brother and I were.
Okay.
Having a mom that's in education. My mom is starting 54 years in education this year.
Wow.
She's in administration in Williamson County. And I'll say, like, we dabbled, we played around, but we always knew when to button up and get to the house.
We'll get to the corner or the ledge and look over.
Be like, oh, that's what's going on over there? No.
My dad plumb crazy.
That part.
Yeah,
Mama and Daddy plumb crazy.
My dad was 6'4", 300 pounds. And he would say this.
You're old school fool, too.
Wherever I find you, I'm going to embarrass you. And then stay with me.
No! My dad said the same thing.
That's right.
He's like, go ahead and put on the show.
That's right.
My show's next.
It's going to be ugly.
Right. Like, if you embarrass me, wait till they see me.
Oh my God.
Wait till they see my show.
Oh my God.
Like, I even now, like, I deeply believe that our parents are our internal dialogue.
Right.
And like I said, I grew up. My mother was a high school principal.
Okay.
I grew up first a teacher, high school principal. So I was a principal's kid growing up.
Right.
And Franklin is that big.
Right.
Black Franklin is that big.
Right.
So everybody knew my family. Everybody knew my mom. Police officers knew my mom from being in schools.
Yeah.
Like, there just wasn't a world where my brother and I could get away with too much foolishness without it being an embarrassment on her. And she's like, look, you don't get to embarrass me.
Not the family name.
Right. When you walk out this house, you're a reflection of me. She's like, I'm sorry for that because I know that that's going to, get in your way of things you may want to do out in this world.
Right.
Especially in our hometown where everybody knows everybody and everybody can't wait to be like, oh, I saw Dickerson's kid.
Right.
Like, there could be 40 other kids with me doing it.
For you.
I'm going to be the one to stand out because I'm the one whose mother is held to this esteem.
That's right.
Now, is that realistic? Absolutely not.
But that's how it is.
Welcome to the reality.
I ran a stop sign my junior year at Maplewood High School.
I had family went to Maplewood.
About 4 miles from here.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got home, my daddy knew.
Public knowledge.
I said, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So they let me know that back in the 80s, the arm reach of family and friends
it
and
was
discipline.
Short.
Absolutely.
You could get home and get God.
Easy. So my next question.
Yes.
Next question. This is a good question.
Okay.
Coming from a home of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
did y'all talk over food and like in the movie Soul Food? Did y'all share things, or was it all festive and passing mashed potatoes, or were you giving some knowledge?
It was knowledge. It was I'll use like I said, just like a good example is my Aunt Rose's caramel cake. Her talking about her grandmother teaching her how to make it.
That's huge.
Yeah, like that's so there was the conversation about, okay, this is who taught me how to make this. This is when I, felt like I had perfected it.
Right.
And then there was also just like, this food is, to nourish our bodies so that we can get up tomorrow and fight, live to fight another day.
Right. Do you
gotta feed the movement.
So do you think that harvesting your own crop is the way to go? Because you was taught that, as opposed to we can't trust the grocery stores anymore.
You can't. Funny that we met in Kroger.
Right. Tell me about that dynamic. You harvest your own crops. Yeah.
Some crops, but
you have to kind of shop.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. It's a combination of both. I will say, like right now, this time of year, you won't catch me buying a tomato in the grocery store.
Okay.
If I'm not going to the farmer's market, whether it's the downtown farmer's market or the Richland farmer's, I'm not buying tomatoes from a grocery store. Now, come February, that's probably going to be the best option.
Right.
But this time of year, like my husband, he came home today with a Kroger bag of tomatoes from somebody that works for him that gave him some tomatoes, because this time of year, I want it as fresh as can be.
Right.
And that's how we grew up. We grew up, from spring through fall, depending on what it was you were looking for.
Okay.
We were going to the farmer's market. We were going to the Nashville farmer's market before, the Nashville farmer's market got gentrified, and the people that we had seen at the farmer's market most of our life got pushed out. But now we do go to grocery stores for some stuff, but if whatever we can get from a farm, whatever I can, I love homemade sourdough.
Okay.
I'm working on, once again, that's something I'm working on, trying to get me a recipe and sourdough starter that, I can do my thing with. But I have a store in Germantown. I go and they make fresh sourdough. Where I can get, whether it's salads and greens, I'm going to the farmer's market.
Yeah, I'm a salad guy.
Okay.
I love salads. So let's talk about.
Do you buy dressing or do you make your own? You buy dressing.
I don't have the skill set.
So as a married woman, my husband and I, we've gone to war over salad dressings.
Okay.
Because he out here buying Hidden Valley Ranch, and I'm just like, let me tell you about the ranch that I make homemade.
Hidden Valley.
He's out here in the Hidden Valley, and I'm like, sir. He's like, I like blue cheese. I'm like, okay, so go buy the blue cheese, and I'll make the dressing for you to put the blue cheese in. But we have a world of convenience.
True.
So if you can just run in Kroger, grab that hidden valley and put it on your wings, then you're happy.
Right.
But I'm just like, I have a list of things that at this point, I'm not going to the grocery store to buy it. I'm not buying salad dressing. I make it. I get honey from the farm.
Right.
I get my olive oil, some lemon, some vinegar. I make homemade dressing. If you want a creamy ranch, I can make a creamy ranch with some Greek yogurt, because that's a little bit healthier than using sour cream and buttermilk. It's like, I'm getting ready to add ice cream to that list. I don't need to go buy ice cream.
Right.
I can make it.
Okay. So
I don't buy biscuits. I make them.
You make biscuits.
I make biscuits. I have just, once again, in the culinary world, I have like 4 different kinds of flour in my house that I use. I have the flour that I only use when I make biscuits. I have the flour that I use when I'm making like Parker House dinner rolls, because there's a yeast bread flour. I have the kind of flour that I use when I'm making pie crust.
Okay.
And you get different things from them.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, you get different things from them. So depending on what I'm trying to make, like I will get up and on a Sunday morning, Saturday morning, or whatever day, if I want to make some biscuits, I'm making biscuits with some lily white flour, some butter, and some buttermilk, maybe a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt. I'm making biscuits. I'm not buying biscuits.
So what joy do you get from cooking? Are you like in your zone?
I'm in my zone.
Like a Zen master.
It is. It's a Zen master thing. If I'm cooking dinner, there's usually a glass of wine and some music playing, and I'm doing my thing. If it's a Sunday morning, depending on, what I'm feeling, especially with Sunday mornings, my granny, she kind of gets on my spirit, and I may have a gospel song going while I'm making biscuits and, putting some country ham on.
Yeah.
It just depends on whatever kind of mood I'm in, but it's, no matter what, it's a joy. Also, I can relax when I'm cooking because it's so second nature to me that I don't have to think about it too much. Professionally, my work in this world is in healthcare administration.
Okay.
That's something I have to think about. That's something I have to, prepare myself for, and, psych myself up to go into an office, go into a clinical setting every day. But cooking, I can just zone out and do my thing and play around and get to mixing and cooking and dipping and doing the things. And most of the time, it comes out great. Yeah. You'll never know if I make something bad because you'll never see it. You'll never taste it. My husband laughs at me all the time because if I make something that ain't right, it gets thrown away.
Right.
Nobody knows about it except for him. And he's just like, why? He's like, it was okay. I'm like, no. I don't do okay.
Right.
I do great.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So, cooking is second nature for you.
Yes, it is second nature. It's a love language.
So my next question is, and this is a good question.
Okay.
How are you at the office potluck? Like, do you
that ain't none of my business.
Yes. Okay, good. I got another question.
Office potlucks. First of all, I don't trust other people's kitchens.
And you should.
And there's no my cats love to hang out on my cat. First of all, I'm allergic to cats. Okay. Second of all, I'm a pet owner.
Okay.
I have a 60-pound German Shepherd.
Okay.
But my dog also knows when I say get out of my kitchen, there's literally going from my kitchen into my living room, I have an area rug.
Okay.
She's on that area rug right on the edge.
Right.
She is not in my kitchen.
Got it.
But yeah.
You're a foodie. Like, can you enjoy other people's food when you go out to dinner?
I can. I enjoy going to restaurants. I can enjoy other people's food, but a lot of times I'll try something and I immediately start kind of dissecting it and playing around with what I would do differently. Or even just the idea of like, I can make that at home and make it way better.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard because if I go somewhere and the food is not good, I'm just like, why am I paying for this?
Right.
I should have stayed
You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself.
Like, I'm not like telling that to the world.
Right.
That's my internal dialogue with myself. Like, I could have done so much better with this. Why am I here? Why am I spending my money? But then at the same time, like if I go to, especially here in Nashville, if I go to certain restaurants, I know what I'm getting. I know the experience I'm going to have because they are my tried and true places that I love here. Okay. That I know I'm going to be happy when I walk out the door.
Meal of choice. What's your meal of choice?
That I make or from a restaurant?
Top 5 meals. Yeah, it's top 5.
Well, like I said, my favorite thing to make is my bolognese. Okay. I love my pot roast. My pot roast is she's world class. Okay. Breakfast wise, I love my biscuits. My husband's favorite thing that I make is probably my chocolate cake. Okay. I do a chocolate cake with chocolate icing. I let's see what else. Something else I make very well and just kind of pop out with it. I have this seared chicken dish.
Okay.
Some people have called it's a play on a French dish called coq au vin.
Okay.
But it's chicken and potatoes and onions and celery and carrots, a little bit of chicken stock, some wine, all of that together, usually over some spinach, just to keep it healthier and lighter. Or you can put it over mashed potatoes if you want to, carb out. But yeah, like I cook everything. I don't limit myself to just soul food.
Okay.
I can play around with, some Mexican food. I can play around with Italian food. I don't limit myself because the world of soul food it's definitely there, and it's soul food, and like I said, I can make a good pot of greens.
Right.
I'm still playing around with hot water cornbread because sometimes if I'm not patient enough with myself, I can't quite get it. But then I have the hot water cornbread. If I'm patient with myself, I got it. But a lot of times, like if my parents are coming over, I'll have my mama do it.
Yeah.
Because there's a fight in my house about who makes better hot water cornbread, my dad or my mama. My mama makes better hot water cornbread because she puts a little bit of sugar in her batter.
Yeah.
A little bit of sugar. My dad, he don't even put sugar in it, but my mama does.
So talk about your farm and where did the GritsFarm2Fork come from?
Okay, so that's a few moving pieces. So the farm is in Goodlettsville. I married into a farming family.
Okay.
My father-in-law, he bought his land and started his farm, and then somewhere in the years, I don't know exactly, was it 10 years, 5 years, but somewhere in the years after that, my husband and his brother bought the farm next to it.
Okay.
So altogether, it's, Jones family land.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law has cattle. And pretty much since my husband and I started dating, he was like, oh, I'm going out to feed the cattle. Going out to take care of the cows. Oh, I'm going out to take care of the horses. I'm like, okay. Like, we're late on our date because you're out feeding horses and cattle. And it's just like, okay, this is different. And so then, once my father-in-law started taking cows to slaughter, because he takes there's a processing plant in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Like I said, they're grass-fed cows. They're, raised in, different pastures. You move them so that the land gets a chance to rest.
Yes.
Kind of recoup and all of that stuff. And then you move them to another pasture. And so then my husband, he started coming home with beef. And, we were, playing around with some of that beef. And then he got some beehives. And then started coming home with honey and figuring out what to do with it. And so grits came to be because I was just kind of sitting around thinking, like, what's the next step to this? Because farming is a very linear thing. Whatever you're going, you have your growing season. You sell it if you can. If you can't sell it, you preserve it. Then better good luck next season. Right. And so I was just getting ideas and playing around with the fact that I know I love to cook, and I know I've always loved to cook and entertain, and my friends have always been like, Jona, like you should do something where you're in a kitchen. Right. And I never disagreed with that, but I didn't want to just show up in a restaurant and be cooking for other people. Like I wanted to cook for me, but I also wanted to cook in a way that elevated my people. Okay. And that's where Raised in the South came from. GRITS is the acronym for Girls Raised in the South, because that is exactly what I am. I'm a young woman that was raised in the South on traditional Southern foods. Okay. And I love to get out on the farm and play around with that, with what that means. Like I said, at the very first dinner that we had in November of 2023, I made pecan pies, and I smoked a tri-tip from a cow that was born and raised on the family farm. Wow. And I served that tri-tip to show people this is what we can do. There's another part of that is showing people, a lot of times, especially with African Americans, when we think about farming, we immediately think of slavery and sharecropping. Right. So we have a bad taste in our mouth when it comes to farming. Okay. I am deeply invested in changing that narrative. I am deeply invested in going back to the land on our own terms. And to me, that's a beautiful way to come out to a Black-owned farm, right, and be there in love and in joy and in bliss versus the work of being there from slavery and sharecropping and being abused and being harmed and hurt. And let's change that narrative. Let's change what going out to this farm means. Let's change what going out to this land means, because so many people, part of the Great Migration, we left farming. Okay. People left the South. They moved to Chicago. They moved to Detroit. Industrial jobs. Right. But that land is still there. A lot of people, they still have family land now, but they don't know what to do with it, or they're not doing anything with it, or they've been for less of a better word, screwed out of it.
Tulsa comes to mind.
Yeah.
The massacre in Tulsa when the whole city was just burned down because
burned down, and then people were ran out.
Yep.
And I think part of the story that people don't talk about too much is when those people tried to go back and tried to reclaim what was rightfully theirs.
Right.
They were like, "Oh, sorry, that property was sold because it was abandoned." Well, why was it abandoned?
Right.
Like, let's address the crime that happened,
right,
versus just, oh, it was abandoned, so it was sold for crumbs,
right,
to little Bobby Joe and his family,
little or nothing,
for little to nothing. But that's because generationally, farming, there's a huge disparagement between white farmers and black farmers in America.
Right.
In the 1920s, African Americans had over 16 million acres of land that we owned. We are now down to less than 3%.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with discriminatory practices. If your grandmama couldn't read and her son was getting arrested every other week and she didn't have the money to bail him out, she was signing over acres.
That's right.
And getting, she couldn't read, so she thought it was 10 acres, it was 30.
Right.
Because she couldn't read. All she knew, she could put an X to mark her name. And generationally, that damage has never been repaired or repaid.
Right.
And so to now look at, like I said, I married into a farming family, and what that land means, the legacy of what that land means, I call it legacy land. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, my father-in-law, he grew up as a farmer. He grew up getting up, feeding chickens and horses and things before he went to school in Holly Springs, Mississippi. That was his background, farming. And then, he got to go off to college from Jackson State. Got married, had some family, had some babies and all those things, but that family land is still there. There's still family that lives there. There's still family. They're still farming. They're still planting what they want to plant and growing what they want to grow, and living on that. Yeah, there's a Walmart down the street too.
Right, obviously.
But Holly Springs, Mississippi is 30 minutes away from Memphis, roughly.
About 30.
Not 30, outside of Memphis.
Yeah.
But that family, that's legacy land, and it's still there. So, like I said, if you look at 1920, African Americans had 16 million acres of land. To now, that's less than 3 million acres. Any land that we own, it's legacy land. And we have to figure out ways to hold on to it, how to protect it, but also how to pursue government contracts and USDA loans and things that we can do, and grants. There's grant money out there for farming. Depending on where you are and what state you live in, if you've got 10 or 15 acres, there are states that will pay you to plant native plants. There are states that will pay you to plant, wildflowers for plant pollinators.
Right.
But you gotta do the research, and you gotta be out there once again, like my mama told me. You gotta be out there looking for that information.
And those are things that
to see what you can do.
We don't know about.
Well, part of it they don't want us to know that.
Of course not now. There's a high percentage of that. But in the age of information, which we
go
are,
find it. Well, if you live in a state that is paying someone, $50,000 a year for an acre of land to plant a certain kind of pollinator, that's $50,000 a year.
Off the top.
And all they're gonna do, they're gonna come out and measure and see how much you grew. Right. See how much land you used. If you own 10 acres and you can use 2 acres of it a year to plant pollinators, or butterflies or bees, they're gonna come out and measure and cut you a check.
Wow.
And that's money for land that's just sitting there. If you can plant, some native wild plants, native wildlife, whatever you can do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are states that if you own land, you can look up whatever. Basically, if you grow what that state needs,
basically, right, they're
gonna cut you a check.
Wow.
And that to me, that's something everybody should know. And it's just a matter of look at your state, do some research, and see what it is. If all it takes is plant it, then go plant it.
I was just at a farm yesterday. I drive for Great Line. I have my CDL. Anyway, I
don't even know that. Great Line?
It's a transportation company.
Okay.
Okay, so I took some people to this farm, and they have steers and have their own. It's some white people in Columbia, Tennessee, deep in the cut. Okay. 52 acres, I believe.
Yeah.
And you made me think that, I saw white people with a farm, listen to your conversation. Now I'm all kind of like
discombobulated.
Oh man, I'm kind of blown away because what you're seeing, they basically did it just, hey, we see a property, I'm gonna bid on it, they got it, and turn that property what it is now. And then their daughter has a farm adjacent to their farm. They kind of go back and forth. And so, speaking of having a steer and processing the food, we had a brisket off of one of the steers.
And it was amazing, wasn't it?
Better
than that air fryer Angus beef you had?
It ain't that good, but it was good though.
Okay.
It was in the vicinity.
But
just to see them do that and make money off of it, and here you say 60 million acres down to 3 million acres.
Less than 3 million.
Less than 3.
That's a lot of land in a very short amount. I mean, 1920, you know, if you want to make it seem like it's a long time ago, my daddy was born in 1948.
Wow.
So that's literally like his granddaddy.
My daddy was born in 1933. 1933. Mom was born in 1935.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
No, but I mean, they will make it sound like it was forever ago, but 1920, 16 million acres of land.
Wow.
Compared to less than 3 million acres of land present day.
Wow.
That's, like I said, there are so many hands in the pot of why that's not anymore.
Right.
And I think that needs to be addressed. Like, that's a really important question. But one of the things I like to tell people, you know, when you come out to the farm and come to the dinner, I like to tell people I want grits to be part of the answer.
Wow.
We can ask that question all day.
Right.
My mom grew up, my mom was in education. I learned and ask questions, but then go out there and find the answers.
Wow.
I want grits to be an answer to that question.
So I got a few more questions before we leave.
Okay.
For one, I'm learning here. I like to have people on my show that's going to make me research and learn.
For sure.
Have you saw many people like you, many African American farmers?
I have started to just because I started researching, especially when I went down the road of like I want to source as much as I can from local Black farmers. So starting that research and finding some, there's not a lot of us. There's not a lot, but the few that I have found, I've cultivated relationships with to be able to reach out and say, hey, this is what I want to do a dinner. This is what I'm thinking about my menu is going to be. What do you think you're going to have coming in? Because I've changed my menu literally the week of based on a farmer being like, hey, the deer got to my crop. I ain't got that no more.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, all right, I can pivot because that's what the culinary world teaches you how to do. You got to pivot. You got to be, you got to be able to give and go.
Right.
You got to be able to, move around. And so I've been able to do that. But ultimately, like I said, these relationships are important because when I'm telling people about the farm and the dinners and stuff, I'm also giving them a connection to that farmer. I've had people that had no idea that one of the farmers that I use, that you can find him at the National Farmers Market, but now they know and they go to him because when I made green beans, my green beans and stewed potatoes came from his farm, and they know him now and they have a relationship with him. And like I said, it's about making the connection. So even if you never come to another dinner, you still have a connection because part of that dinner is I'm telling you about that farmer. I'm telling you about his experience in farming. Because also in a perfect world, in my dream scenario, I would love to have a dinner and actually have the farmers come to be a part of the dinner, be my honored guests. Because I want them to stand up and tell you about their family history in farming and how long they've been doing it and, their, farmers and where their farm is located and how you can reach them. Because to me, that connection is vital for that farmer to be able to keep his farm up and going for his next generation, but it also gives you a connection. So a good example, I brought you a jar of honey today.
You did.
The hope is that when you finish that jar of honey, you reach out and you say, hey, I'd like some more honey. And I'm going to tell you, like, okay, that jar of honey, I sell it. Bring me my empty jar and I'm going to give you $3 off your next jar. But that is from bees that pollinated on our family farm in Goodlettsville.
Wow.
And usually when I have a dinner, I have jars of honey sitting on the table because that's what tells people what we got and what we're doing. Like I said, when I smoke a tri-tip out on the farm, the next step is to be able to show you that you can buy a tri-tip. Because you're out here on this farm, you can buy one.
Right. And
if you want me to put together a seasoning pack for you to season it and you can take it home, you buy it, it's gonna be, it's gonna be frozen.
So you have everything there for the people to come and eat if they want to buy it.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's part. Some stuff, yes, but that's the plan. I want that's for me. That's the next step. Because also one of the things I want to do, not only having the farmer there for you to meet that farmer, but I also want you to be able to buy a basket of his produce.
Right.
So if that farmer can't get to the National Farmers Market, he's not allowed there. I want to create another space where you can find him and where you can buy his produce. So, dream scenario.
Right.
In a perfect world, you come out to this farm, you've purchased your ticket, you're coming out to the farm, you brought a bottle of wine, because I tell everybody 1 bottle of wine per person. You come out with your bottle of wine and you sit down to this dinner and you get some history, you get some family, because we sit at one long communal table.
Right.
If you come with a partner, I always encourage people to, instead of sitting next to their partner, I ask that you sit across from your partner so that the person next to you is someone you haven't seen in a while or someone new. And you sit down and you commune as a family. Because that's the community that I'm cultivating. And then, like I said, at some point in the dinner, I want the farmer to stand up and tell you about his family and how long he's been farming while you're eating food that came from his farm, while you're eating beef that came from our family farm, while you're eating a salad with dressing and I used honey from our farm.
Wow.
And then at the end of the dinner, there'll be some tables behind us where you basically can go build yourself a basket. And if you want farm fresh eggs, they'll be there. If you want jars of honey, they'll be there. If you want to buy some fresh flowers, they will be there. If you want to build a basket of potatoes and carrots and peppers and whatever, you can build that basket and be like, hey, we had a tri-tip. How many tri-tips? I want to buy a tri-tip. And you buy all that. Excuse me. While coming out to a Black-owned farm.
Wow.
Coming out to a dinner. That is my dream of dreams for Grits. And right now, like I said, I think the most I've fed has been 25 people.
Wow.
At a dinner. I would love to grow that. I've seen farm-to-table dinners, farm-to-fork dinners that feed 100 people. I don't know. that gives me a little bit of pause in my heart. That if that's what I'm called to do, then I'm gonna show up, because I don't back down from very many things. If that's what I'm called to do, that's what I'm gonna show up and do. I'm gonna feed 100 people on a Black-owned farm.
Wow.
And show you what it means to come back to the land on your own terms.
Wow. From
a space of love and healing and nourishment.
Can I give you a hand clap?
Sure, I'll take that.
I love doing that.
The hand clap?
So I'm going to stop right here because I'm impressed by you and your husband.
Thank you. We deeply appreciate that.
And I see the connection, the energy, the synergy, and to marry into a family that unbeknownst could birth that vision of what you're doing. That's amazing. It's nothing but God sent.
That it really is. Like,
Nothing
I've had so many moments where I was on this path and I felt my grandmother just kind of keep on, baby.
That's the greatness of Big Mama. You know, they are our greatest encyclopedias. And if you are lucky enough to have a grandmother and grandfather, when I see people with their grandparents, I'm like, I feel some kind of way, because I have one picture of my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Just one picture. And, my father grew up in Cleveland, Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville, right outside of Chattanooga. My mother grew up in Memphis.
Okay.
And so, it's a different world in those days. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Civil rights, Jim Crow, all that stuff. They had a piece of all of that.
Absolutely.
And so, but they connected by food.
Yeah.
My mother could cook. My dad ate pig feet, but he couldn't cook. He could boil pig ears.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Boiled pig ears.
Yes.
Okay.
Pig snout.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah. Bladder, all this stuff. Disgusting.
Whatever fed the family. Whatever keep these kids from going hungry.
So this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at the camera and just explain. You've explained Grits Farm to Fork, but just your upcoming events. In the future, what to expect, and where to find you on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, look it up. Oh, yeah.
I gotta make sure I say everything correctly.
Oh, no. You got on me about your name, and so.
I know, right?
So this is very important, because little black girls need to see you, need to know that chicken nuggets are not the only thing you could be eating, and really shouldn't be eating the processed food.
Nah, we gotta leave McDonald's alone.
I know, but we're born into it.
But even being born into it, what McDonald's is present day and what McDonald's is when we were little, that's not the same thing. That's not the same.
I agree with that. I totally, it's not different.
And like people are like, I grew up eating that. That ain't the same thing.
Not the same. Things change.
That's a whole nother level. Like, I'm at the age now, the only thing I can eat from McDonald's is the French fries.
Yeah.
Everything else tries to kill me.
Yeah.
Taco Bell tries to kill me.
It is trying to kill you, literally.
Literally. Like, I can't. Me and fast food, we don't have a relationship like that anymore. I just can't do it. My body's just like, no ma'am.
You have a palate. You have a different kind of palate.
Okay, I'm not even gonna say it's the palate. It's the
The research.
it's everything else.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
You can absolutely eat whatever you want, but when your body is actively rejecting it in every possible way,
You know what it is.
you gotta stop.
Okay.
But yeah.
So, Miss Jones, I want
Yes.
you to look at the camera and just talk your stuff. Not talk your stuff, but
Oh yeah, it's talk my stuff.
you're gonna pop your stuff about what you're doing
Pop
and,
my collar.
and what's next and where to find you,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
All right, so Jona Jones, GritsFarm2Fork on Instagram, Supper Club and Catering, located in Goodlettsville, Tennessee, right off 65. We don't have an event planned as of yet. We are possibly going to do at least 2 more events this season. Follow the Instagram page, GritsFarm2Fork. That's when tickets will go live. We sell out. My spring dinner, which was in May of this year, sold out. Come out to the farm, buy some honey. Be in a black owned farm and feel loved, feel seen, feel welcome, feel safe, and get some nourishment, get some community, and enjoy yourself. And give the Instagram page a follow. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in getting some honey, feel free to reach out. I try to be timely in responding to people, but life is life, and there is a 9 to 5. But I try to make myself available when people want to come out to the farm and do tours. Come out. See the farm, see the horses, see the cows, check out some honey, check out the beehives, all of those things, because it's out there, and we're doing something very special. And I'm really proud to be married into this farming family and figuring out a way to stepping into a space and making it my own in my own little way. I feel blessed to be able to do that. So come out to the farm and tell me what you think.
All right, you heard from Miss Jones, Jona. Did I say it right?
You did not.
Okay.
Jona.
Jona.
How is it?
Sorry, Jona.
Did you know his name is John?
Jona. Okay.
I have a twin brother. His name is John as well. If you
John.
really want to go down arrogant, because I have a twin brother. He's 5 minutes younger than me. He is John Michael. I'm Jona Michelle.
John. I don't like the Johnson from.
I don't know. You made that up.
I did.
That's between you and your higher power. It's Jona.
And I wrote it down, John.
Jona.
Well, John, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
the
been
high
absolutely
table.
wonderful.
Hey, I told you.
The high table.
The high table. Listen, we are trying to highlight, not trying to, but we're highlighting people that do great things in our community.
I'm trying.
And
I really
this right
am,
here has been amazing.
I'm trying to be the woman that my mama raised me to be. This is what she poured into me, and this is what I'm going to give to the world.
There it is. Till next time, people, thank you for tuning into the hot table. And, hey, we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.